The 2026 season is officially here. With the start of the fiscal NFL season, also comes the first day of free agency. And the Panthers made a big swing on the very first day of the legal tampering period, which was the Monday before free agency started. And the Carolina Panthers made some massive moves in which put the league on notice. But then they also made a move that could possibly put this team back substantially if his replacement is not on the roster. Or maybe not. This story and one major addition on this edition of Growlin' and Prowlin'. Welcome back, Growlers. Thank you all so much for joining us here on another edition of Growlin' and Prowlin'. Again, you are joined by the one and only Mr. CeeLo. And guys, I need you to do me a favor real quick. If you are checking out the show and you have not subscribed to the show, and you choose to, please go ahead and do that now. And if you have subscribed to the show, please go and make sure that you have. I am losing some of my subscribers, and I definitely don't want you guys to not be a part of keeping up with myself as I go through this trek with you guys. I am definitely going to be with you guys. I've been under the weather the last couple of days, and I hope you guys are doing great. But as for me, it's been a trying couple of days trying to stay up on things. Want to give a huge growl out to my nephew, Terrell, whose birthday was last week. And it's been a while since I've been with you guys, so I wanted to give him a huge growl out. And I wanted to give a huge growl out to my wife as we celebrated our anniversary, and wanted to tell her how much I love her and appreciate her while I'm doing this. Love you, baby. Love you too, Buck. But, guys, let us get into it. As many of you don't know, I had a show that I wanted to bring out about A'Shawn Robinson, talking about how vital he is and how the Panthers needed to work their way to getting this guy to return. And whether it be restructuring his deal or just figuring out some way to get him to come back to this football team. Because whether many of you realize it or not, the talks around Panther Nation is that A'Shawn Robinson is just, a Robin to, Derek Brown. Which you could argue that point to a degree when you look at the bare statistics of what he was capable of doing. Now, I get it. Derek Brown had a NFL record-breaking season the year before his injury, which was now coming up on, believe it or not, now 3 years removed. Because if you guys remember the year he had it, there was that year, and then there was the year that he missed, and then there was last season. So you're talking about him being 3 years removed from that very debilitating injury, which he has seemingly recovered from, being that he's looked so explosive and very good on this defense. But I think many of you guys need to realize just how valuable A'Shawn Robinson was. I don't think many of you do. And I know some of the analysts have really glossed over what kind of player A'Shawn Robinson was. Let's look at solo tackles, where Derek Brown had 33, A'Shawn Robinson 21. Now keep in mind, both of these guys both played and started in 17 games. Then you see assist. A'Shawn Robinson had 44, Derek Brown only 40. Then you see total tackles. A'Shawn Robinson had 65, to Derrick Brown's 73. Derrick Brown had 5 sacks. A'Shawn Robinson only had 2.5 sacks. And then you see tackle for losses. Brown 5, Robinson 3. Now, the last couple of days, you've actually seen more people talking about his contributions to this D line. Now, I will have you guys remember that historically bad Carolina Panther defense, A'Shawn Robinson was actually the only bright spot on that D line, which makes it more of an important situation because, look, Derrick Brown, yes, he's back to full form, but Tershawn Wharton has not been that guy that they paid him all that money for, which I guess in a sense makes it all the more important that the Panthers get this right. I'm not saying without a shadow of a doubt that A'Shawn Robinson was going to be the end-all be-all of this situation. What I'm simply saying is, guys, I have been trying to get this entrenched in you guys. We cannot take 3 steps forward and 6 steps backwards. Listen, the Devin Lloyd signing was absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love it. I am absolutely in love with the decision. Jalen Phillips likewise. But we cannot make these great moves and then continuously take steps backwards. You have to make decisions that are going to move the team forward. Now, I get it. You cannot make all the right choices in one season. And a lot of people were talking about the $10 million cap space. Most reporters and writers from the outside of Charlotte were talking about, well, it's just a no-brainer here. Well, then obviously you don't watch the games. And I've heard a few within the walls of the Carolina Panther organization understand how important A'Shawn is. And I was of the opinion that maybe we should have figured out another way to restructure. Or possibly, see if we couldn't re-sign him to a lesser deal. And realistically, look, we could have restructured a lot of deals. We did Derrick Brown's. I think we needed to do J.C. Horn's and possibly Robert Hunt's and Damian Lewis's. Give them extensions. We could have freed up that a lot of cap space that we needed to keep these two big guns on the roster. And realistically, look, a lot of y'all are going to say, well, we could go into the draft. The draft's not a guarantee. And we've got guys on this D line, in my opinion, like Bobby Brown, who's had flashes, numbers not nearly as impressive. Cam Jackson's a guy who, in my opinion, when we got him, 6'6", 328 pounds, maybe he can come in there and be that X factor and that run stopper. Who knows? I'm hoping that's what he can be. The 6'6", 328, that's pretty impressive. Maybe they go in the draft. I don't know. There's a couple of impressive defensive tackles there, but then hearing that Yosh Nijman, many of you don't know, he retired. That puts us in an even dire position at this point. But when you look at what A'Shawn Robinson brought, you don't just get to just tee off on Derrick Brown. You have to pick your poison at times. And A'Shawn Robinson at times was exceptionally good when he was not double teamed. Really, all they needed was that third guy. So at times, Bobby Brown was that dude. But Tershawn Wharton, everybody talked about Wharton being that dude coming from Kansas City. And I remember hearing Julian Council say this on his show. Maybe Turk Wharton is just specifically to passing downs, not run downs. Just saying, just food for thought. And to me, you could have went with that combination. And that combination worked well when Turk Wharton was out. And I've given this stat on the show before. The Panthers gave up, on average, 40 fewer less rush yards with Turk Wharton out of the lineup. Now, they're paying him a boatload of money. So, listen, I understand. I get it. But the truth of the matter is this needs to be a guy that if he can't stop the run, he's going to have to find his way on just passing downs. Because realistically, the Carolina Panthers were in the middle of the pack when it came to stopping the run. And a lot of those big games came while Turk Wharton was on the field. And I'm not trying to be a jerk off or trying to be a pessimist towards Turk Wharton. But look, if he goes out there and he starts, next season, the opening game, and this run defense is having trouble, look, Bobby Brown's got to take first and second down, and then you bring in Turk Wharton on specific third downs. Because we cannot have situations where the opposing team is running it down our throats, and he's getting not only horrible PFF grades, but he's getting pushed off the ball. Because in this defense, the edge guys have to be your weakness. Because realistically, your interior guys cannot allow runs up the gut of 3, 4, 5, and 6 yards. That totally eliminates you getting off the field. Which leads me to what happened with A'Shawn Robinson once he got released. He is now a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah. So, what can happen when you make a bad decision or a decision that you think is in the best interest of your team? Yeah. He's, according to Ian Rappaport, he is basically signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Basically a 1-year deal for $10 million. And basically getting his money back. And what really bothers me is you're looking at a guy who accumulated 145 combined tackles with 8 sacks, 55 pressures, and 65 stops, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, and 4 passes defensed. And he started in 33 of the 34 games he played as a Panther. So, when you look at what we got out of this guy, for the amount of money, look, it's not Pro Bowl money that he was getting paid. I don't understand why this had to be a move, unless there's another move out there that makes sense. Now, if Cam Jackson comes in there, I'll walk back my comments. Turk Wharton shows out next season, I'll walk back my comments. I'm not sure Cam Jackson is ready to make that move. Turk Wharton has never been a dominant run stuffer. But you had a guy, and I want all of you out there in Panther Nation to realize this. You had a guy that was willing to play backman to Derek Brown's. You had a guy that was willing to play Robin to Derek Brown's Batman. And he did it well. He did it well. We can sit here and we make all the statements we want about the addition of Jalen Phillips, Devin Lloyd. But realistically, unless Cam Jackson comes in there and he's able to keep guys off of Devin Lloyd, and Jalen Phillips, along with Nick Scorton, is able to take that massive leap and be able to set those edges for guys like Devin Lloyd and possibly Trevin Wallace to come back, it's all for naught, you guys. It's all for naught. But guys, let's transition into a move that we made that I thought was rather surprising, but I was kind of hoping. Right now Dan Morgan is starting to make moves that I look at and say to myself, okay, is this what we're doing here? And that move would be getting the speedy John Mechie. John Mechie was a guy that played wide receiver with Bryce Young at Alabama. Now, a lot of people are saying, first of all, we should not expect a miracle out of Mechie. I look at it as a situation when Mechie was drafted in the second round by the Houston Texans. They really did not have a lot there. And then, of course, he had his cancer diagnosis. I think it was lymphoma, he had. But you're asking this guy, this is a guy that's got blazing speed and I don't expect him to win the job outright. I expect that number 3 to be receiver by committee. Because when you think about it, they did bring back David Moore. We still got Jimmy Horn Jr. on the roster. We still have Bryson Tremaine on the roster. Xavier Legette as well. I think for no more than what Dave Canellis was saying, we don't want this to be a committee receiver room. I think that's exactly what you have. You want guys that are going to be quick so you can stretch the field and get guys like Tetairoa McMillan in the slot and have him work down the field somewhat. Look, you just have to sit in the room, you and Brad Idzik, and y'all need to draw up some good stuff. Whether it's Tetairoa being in the slot so you can work him more down the field. Look, Mechie can work the intermediates. If you can actually draw up some more creative route trees for Xavier Legette, we've seen Legette go deep. Guys, look at earlier in the season. This is not a classic case of XL not performing or XL not doing right. Throw out all the mental errors. Let's just throw those out the window. A lot of guys check out because they don't get the opportunities. At some point, this coaching staff has to take Xavier Legette and do what he does well. You have Deebo Samuel 2.0 on your squad. Yes, I said it. Do you guys not realize Deebo made a lot of errors and he still makes errors at his ripe age? Look, the reality of it is players make mistakes. They make boo-boos. It's up to us to encourage him. Now, as far as Mechie goes, people are going to say he's had a bad case of the drops in some games. I get that. But this is a guy who went from opportunity after opportunity after opportunity at Alabama to he was kind of the guy in Houston until he sat out with his unfortunate diagnosis. And it's kind of like, what have you done for me lately? You guys know how the NFL is. I mean, look, is there anything that Mechie can't do in the route tree? Look how long it took Jameson Williams to catch fire. Look, a lot of this is on coaching staffs, especially when it comes to developing receivers. It's not just about T-Mac. T-Mac had his issues this year, you guys. Y'all sit and call it what you want. There's a lot of issues when it comes to coaching staff, and people keep sitting there talking about separation with XL. A lot of this has to do with route trees. And I'm going to always refer to that Atlanta game where he played well, and he caught that touchdown pass where, look, the guy's grabbing his shoulder pads. Mechie can be that guy that can stretch this offense and take that next level. And reality of it is he can eat up the short stuff too. We've got 3-level wide receivers. The question is, when is Canellis going to take advantage and allow our tight ends that are currently on the roster to eat up the short stuff? That's where I have the biggest issue. I keep sitting here hearing people talking about Sadiq. What are we going to do? The same thing Atlanta did with Kyle Pitts? We got the right tight ends in the room right now. We got deep, go down the field type of guys in this wide receiver room. We don't need them eating up the middle. We don't need them eating up the short stuff. That's what we have the tight ends for. And the way we want to run the football, and we got 2 tight end sets, if we can run that 12 and 13 man personnel, oh my goodness, guys. We just got to get our guys healthy. Mitchell Evans is a dude. For no more, Tommy Tremble's still on the roster, and I'm hoping he stays. I hope they look at him and say, okay, $6 million is not really that much to attempt to save. Let's just extend the guys that we have. Keep the roster intact. Get Jatavian Sanders back healthy. We got the right tight end room. We don't necessarily have to feed every guy that we have on. We don't necessarily have to have one guy that we're feeding at that position. Just like we don't have to have one guy we're feeding at the wide receiver position. We don't. And until people start getting that idea that we can basically do what we did in that Atlanta Falcons game when we're spreading it around, who's going to stop it? Didn't Bryce Young get drafted because he was the distributor? Or did we forget about that? Let me know what you guys think about the signing of John Mechie. I think he's going to be a great addition if Idzik and Canellis can figure out what to do with him. I'm not happy about A'Shawn Robinson's release. If you guys have comments, please put them down below. Or who do you think we should go after? I'll do a show about who I think we should get in the draft, or whether we should go a certain route in the draft. But we've got complications as far as our first round pick go. So, we'll have to discuss that as we go. But guys, don't forget, let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure that if you are watching this show and you have been subscribed, but you're currently looking down and you're not subscribed, make sure you hit it again, because I've lost a couple of you guys this week. But make sure that you click that thumbs up if you like the show. Make sure that you hit that bell notification so that you can get notifications when all the shows that I have drop. Make sure you go over to the Facebook page, Growlin' and Prowlin'. Join the group as well, so you can keep up with little polls and whatnots that I'll be putting up. Finally, if you want to keep up with me, or if you want to contact me personally at Mr. CeeLo on Instagram, you may do so by DMs. But until the next time, keep prowling the airwaves and growling out. Keep pounding.